Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, today we're going to talk about LeBron James. He's talking about Michael Jordan couldn't score 50 points per game in his era. First of all, LeBron, shut your mouth, okay? This is not your era. Your era was the 2010s. I don't care if this guy won an NBA championship in 2020. Nobody respects that, right? Okay, because ever since he won that so-called bubble ring, he has been humiliated. Okay, whether it was in the Western Conference Finals, which they got all the calls to get there, or he fell with a super duper team. He lost in the first round. He's always hurt. This is not his era. LeBron era was 2010, right? It was 2010, and he failed miserably, right? 4-6 in the championship game. Why is he worried about this? He should be worried about the steroid allegations. He won't address that, but he's concerned about what Michael Jordan can do in this era. Okay, let's put LeBron, a young LeBron in this era, where in the early 2000s, he's scoring 27 points per game, 28 points per game. In 1 year, I think he averaged 30. So you would figure that LeBron would average at least, what, 35 points per game? So let's take Michael Jordan in the 80s, right? He averaged 37, 35 points per game in a defensive era. So you don't think Michael Jordan would average 50 points per game in this era? Or a Wilt Chamberlain who did average 50 points per game? You must be out of your mind, dude. LeBron, if you think this is the greatest era, look, I'm not even talking about three-pointers. Take a player like AD, right? Or Joker. They don't shoot a lot of three-pointers. Right? Why will Michael Jordan sit out there and shoot a whole bunch of three-pointers when there is nobody to stop him under the rim? That would be foolish. And that's why I say about a lot of these players, why are you sitting out there shooting three-pointers when there's nobody to stop you? Nobody. It's a waste of a time. What waste of time? There's no great power forwards. There's no great centers to stop you from driving inside. Who? What it looks like, this game is rigged. You got four guys sitting at the three-point line and one center. One of the guys at the three-point line, he collapses and drives the ball in. Okay. Another defender collapses and he starts doubling the guy that's driving the ball, right? That leaves another guy at the three-point line. Now, either he's going to go for a layup, dunk, whatever, or he's going to kick it out now to a guy that's open at the three-point line. Okay, now you got another guy, another defender. He's going to come over and try to, cover that guy that's wide open that had the ball passed to him at the three-point line, which leaves another guy open. So the guy who has the ball, either he's going to shoot it or he's going to pass it to the other guy at the three-point line. And this is the same scheme over and over again that every team does. You're trying to tell me that they got real coaches? Because in the 80s and 90s, everybody ran different defenses. How do you have real coaches today when everybody is playing the same scheme, right? And that's why you have teams like Denver, right? They don't shoot a lot of threes, and they proved this last year when they won a championship. They shot the least amount of threes. They played a half-court game, okay? Joker, he can barely get up and down the floor. If you watch him, you're trying to tell me he's faster than Hakeem? You're trying to tell me he's faster than a Orlando Shaq or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting up and down the floor? Or a younger Wilt Chamberlain? No. Those guys would dominate Joker. And most of those guys would dominate Joel Embiid. Right? I'm sick of the madness. LeBron needs to worry about his steroid allegations and stop worrying about what Jordan could average in the non-defensive era that they had to do away with defense in 2005, right? The same defense before they did away with it that LeBron could not make the playoffs until they got rid of defense. And all of a sudden now he makes the playoffs after 2 years. The chosen one couldn't make the playoffs, right? When it was defense. Second year, he had an all-star teammate, El Gauskas, right? Both of them made the all-star team in '05 and couldn't make the playoffs because After the All-Star break, LeBron choked 19 out of 31 games and couldn't make the playoffs, right? But if Jordan, if he had an All-Star teammate his second, third, or fourth, or fifth year and couldn't make the playoffs, he would have been ridiculed. But they sweep all this under the rug for LeBron James, right? LeBron makes the playoffs in 2006, right? His first year there, he takes a 3-2 lead going back home against the great Pistons, right? With Ben Wallace still on that team. LeBron chokes down a 3-2 lead going back home. And I'm not talking about because he lost. Go look at his averages. His turnovers, his three-point shooting, his field goal percent shooting, his all that. Turnovers, he choked that down. The next year in 2007, he makes the finals, right? You think that's possible in the 80s? You only made the playoffs one time and you're going to the finals? And he plays the Pistons again in the Eastern Conference Finals without Ben Wallace, right? And they have Chris Webber, a bench player, right? In the 80s, you would need to have, what, 2 to 3, 4 Hall of Famers on one team just to make the finals, right? And LeBron made it without even an all-star teammate or a Hall of Fame teammate, right? How weak is that era? And they give this guy praise because he goes to the '07 finals and he melts down, shooting under 40%, shooting like 60-something percent from the free throw line, 4 or 5 turnovers a game, 20-something percent from three, and he gets praised for taking a bunch of nobodies to the finals without one all-star or Hall of Fame teammate. That's not possible in the 80s, okay? And then 2008, he faces his first super team in the Celtics, and he melted down in the playoffs, shooting 30-something percent from the field, and it's the same thing. They had an outlaw defense because guess what? '04 Olympics, they got manhandled and mollywopped by Manu Ginobili, a six-man in our Argentina team, right? 99% of the guys in those Olympics, in the international games, was not on the NBA roster. And the LeBron era guys could not even win a silver medal, right? Manu Ginobili in Argentina won the gold medal. Wait, hold on. I get it. LeBron didn't play, right? LeBron couldn't get no minutes. Well, if you didn't shoot 41% from the field and was a minus 144 for the season, maybe they would have put you in the game in the Olympics, right? So we go to '06 FIBA, right? Wade is coming off a championship, MVP, finals MVP, all this stuff, right? LeBron is averaging like 27 points per game. They got Bosh on there. They got Chris Paul. They got, what's his name? Carmelo Anthony. These guys are doing the damn thing. They get mollywopped in a silver medal round. By who? Grease sewer workers. Nobody knows who these guys are. None of them are in the NBA. None of them can make an NBA roster, or they would be in the NBA, right? What does this mean? These guys are beating LeBron era guys, not on athleticism, fundamentals of the game, right? X's and O's. And we all heard, it all done came out. The LeBron teams, they don't practice. They play based on athleticism and so-called skills, right? And they thought because they outlawed defense in the NBA in 2005, they could take that to the FIBA games and beat these guys. But no, those international players who aren't athletic, right, beat LeBron and his guys in his era of guys based on fundamentals in X's and O's, executing basketball. Do you think the '80s Celtics, they were athletic? No. They were beating guys based off of fundamentals of the game. They beat Jordan, all other teams based on fundamentals and X's and O's of the game. When you think about the Spurs dynasty that beat LeBron, '07 finals, and when they played LeBron in Miami, those guys aren't high flyers, right? Those guys aren't crazy athletic. They beat LeBron based off of fundamentals and X's and O's. The Warriors, you won't consider these guys crazy athletic. No, they beat LeBron based off of fundamentals. Denver, They beat AD and LeBron off of fundamentals and X's and O's of the game. This is real skills. Every position has a certain skill, right? They don't have any skills today for the most part, right? Three guys sitting at the 3-point line is not fundamentals or skills of the game. They're telling you that skills is a guy who can dribble behind his back 20 times in a row. That's not skills. Okay, a power forward, a center, a small forward, a guard, a point guard, all have certain skills that they're supposed to have. LeBron said, damn that. Right? Damn that. He took away his guard, his shooting guard, and his point guard. I'm a forward and I'm going to play both of them. And that's why he is 4-6 in the finals, because his guard and his point guard don't exist, because he wants to play forward, small forward, and guard at the same time. Right? That's why if you have fundamentals of the game, you can beat LeBron James, because his team is a positionless team. He took Bosch out of his position. He took Love out of his position. He took a lot of guys out of their position that you grow up and you're a positional player so he can get his stats. So at the end of the day, his players are positionless. And that's why a lot of guys in this era, they grew up trying to be like LeBron. Positionless players, and they destroy the fundamentals and the X's and O's of the game. Jordan could not start winning when he was playing the Pistons. They're not crazy athletic. They were executing fundamentals, and his team wasn't. He was, but his team wasn't. That's how he won so much in the 90s. Because once he got to the 90s, for him to beat the Pistons, they had to execute fundamentals of the game. X's and O's. And that's what he brought into the 90s, right? So LeBron doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He needs to worry about the steroid allegations. He don't want to talk about that. He didn't want to play Friday night because he don't want to address the steroid allegation. He don't want people in the stands, even though he's playing at home, they're going to call him LeBalco. LeBron, give me some steroids. He's probably going to sit out this game too tonight on Sunday. And that's what he better do. Right? Because this guy, this is not his era. He keeps playing because he thinks he can be the GOAT based on what? Longevity stats that the NBA doesn't award for, because he doesn't have any statistical titles but 2 in 20 years, right? 4-6. Six finals blowout losses. Yes, they're blowout losses because why? He never went to a game 7 in those losses. Because his team lacks the fundamentals to get to a game 7, right? He's worried about a Michael Jordan. Could have averaged 50 points per game. Who's going to stop Shaq in this era? Who's going to stop Akeem Olajuwon? Who's going to stop Kareem? Right? If this guy can average 27 points per game just doing layups and dunks, what could Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Jordan, Barkley, these type of guys do in this era? And I don't even think they would want to play in this era. This era is weak. It's not basketball. They had to bring in all these international players because American players lacked the fundamentals, because they wanted to be like LeBron, who lacked the team fundamentals, right? So you guys tell me what you think, man. I'm so sick of this dude.